Khan. All praise to the Most High. Right? Shalom, Israel. Right? Shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Right? Khan is wfiEurope, brother Capash. And we're gonna just be going over being a godly man and repentance. Right? I think another brother should be tapping in as well. But we're gonna go over being a godly man and repentance, right? Because obviously in this truth, there's a lot of things we haven't had the understanding of or haven't known coming into this thing, right? Salaki, right? There's obviously a lot of things we haven't known, how to move, how to carry yourself, but more and more as you get built up, right? Certain things you gotta let go of. Certain things you gotta say, okay, cool. You work on that and you build yourself up, right? You gotta go through the precepts, man. You gotta go line upon line, here a little, there a little, to get an understanding of how the forefathers, and even for sisters, and how the foremothers, right, governed themselves and carried themselves, in the days of old, right? So let's get a few precepts. Let's get a few verses, right? I'm gonna read off of blue letter Bible, right? It's a very good tool. Recommend, right? If you don't already know about the blue letter Bible, right? That's 101, right? That is literally that's 101, man. Israelite 101, but can't, right? Cool. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32. Right, that's where we're gonna start off. All right, go to Deuteronomy 32 and we'll read verse 7. Right, it says, Deuteronomy 32 and verse 7, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elder, and they will tell thee. Right? So that's something, we gotta learn to do. We gotta learn to be able to go back to our elders, right? Or ancient ones, right? Elders within Israel, right? Maybe your uncle, right? Or your dad, etc. And we got to understand this truth, to understand where we come from, we have to go back and we have to ask them, right? We have to ask them certain things, right? Can. So it's like anyway, as I was saying, right? I'll read the verse again, right? It's the book of Deuteronomy 32 and verse 7. Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. Right? So that's what we gotta do in this truth. We gotta go back. We gotta go back in our lineage, go back in our history to understand who we are, understand how it is we've got to this place. Right? We gotta understand, how did great uncle so and so act? How did the forefathers, how did the patriarchs act? That's what we gotta be able to do. We gotta be able to go through these scriptures, right? And that's what it's for. Going through the scriptures, is literally for these things are written for our learning, right? Let's get that as well, right? It's a book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse number 4, and it says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." Right? So us going through these scriptures, right? This is where we get our understanding. This is for our learning, right? Because we see our mighty forefathers, the mighty foremothers of Israel, how they were amongst each other, how they, some of them, they are bad examples of Israelite men and women, but still those are there for our learning. It's there for our learning to see, hey, this is not how we should act, right? These are examples of what we should do, what we shouldn't do, and that's what the scriptures is for. But we haven't had that understanding. We haven't been built up according to that, right? So and that's when we read the scriptures. We can't just, because a lot of the time we see in church, we see, things are it's just everything's just spiritual. A lot of the time, you see everything is, it's just, but obviously it is, but there's some things where it's literally talking about us being Israelites, right? Why we're in the position we're in, right? Yes, it's spiritual, but that literally happened. Like, there's things that literally happen. Some things are spiritual, right? Like the Lord is spiritual, right? But these things we have written here, again, is for our learning. It's something that we gotta be able to look back on to understand who we are, right? Let me get one more as well, right? Another one, right? It's Job 8:8. For I inquire, I pray thee of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers, right? So we got to do that. We got to search out how our fathers were moving, right? The patriarchs. We got to look at, these mighty men that were established, right? And there's mighty men on earth today, right? Through the process of regeneration. But we got the Bible to obviously be able to understand who, how they moved in the spirit, how they were, how they sojourned and went to different places around the earth, right? So let's go through the scriptures and really see, what we see today taking place, right? So I got my Bible and I've got the app up. Kind of feel a bit comfortable with both. But whenever I'm reading, I'm gonna put it up on the screen as well. But right, definitely I'm gonna pull up on both. All right, I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna start in 2 Timothy. All right, starting 2 Timothy, because this is literally examples of what we shouldn't be like, right? Because we'll put the two and two together and we'll see, okay, look, like for example, we have some of the kings of Jerusalem, kings of Israel, excuse me, and kings of Judah, how they acted and how that led to the downfall of Israel, right? How that led to us going into captivity, being destroyed, right? Then being saved again, right? Then it's a concurrent thing that happened. But let's go through the scripture, right? It's the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3 and verse 1. I'll start from. It says, "This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come," right? And we can see that's kind of taking place now, right? So we got to be prepared spiritually, right? And not be lovers of ourselves, right? We shouldn't just, and that's how the things are waxing worse, right? People becoming, oh, I love myself so much, right? People are, even people that are sat in the high seats, right? They're proud. They don't want to take correction, right? Verse 2. And it reads, "For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy," right? Without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. Right? So we got to avoid people that are moving like this. And a lot of the time, that could be yourself. Right? You don't want to be a lover of yourself. You want to be a lover of yourself. Right? You don't want to be covetous. You don't want to be desiring. You don't want to be and Christ wasn't walking around and he was desiring to be like the Pharisees. Right? If anything, he wanted them to understand the scriptures, right? Believe on me, just like you believed on Moses, man. Right? Because how can you believe what Christ, they believe Moses, but they didn't believe what Christ was saying. You know what I'm saying? So we don't want to be blasphemers, right? We don't want to be proud men, right? because pride comes before, what comes after being prideful, man? Destruction, right? We don't want to be disobedient towards our parents. That's just you should know that. We don't want to be unthankful. We don't want to be unholy, right? We don't want to be conformed to the ways of this society, right? That's not we don't want to aim to be like that, because that's nothing to be proud of, right? And being proud, the Most High is not dealing with that, man, right? We don't want to be blasphemers, right? Without natural affection, like for example, and that's one of the curses, right? Where we have an evil eye. Let me get that as well. We have an evil eye towards our brothers, right? And that's really that's the mindset of a man that is unholy, right? That's a mindset of a man that he hates himself as much as he hates his brother, right? So we don't want to be like that. We don't want to be that man. We want like we see obviously we have the curse. It says, oh, so that the man, I'm gonna read Deuteronomy 28 and verse 54, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, right? Because that's how once upon a time, right? Us as brethren, that's how we dealt with each other. Hey, shalom or shalom. Hey, how you doing, brother? How's your family? We used to move like that. But when you become assimilated into this society, right, and into the captivities that we're in, we start moving like the people that run the place, that have, we start moving like the wicked, and we don't want to be like that, because that makes us now hate our own people, right? And now you're marrying outside your nation, right? Now you're just in committing sin, because you ain't got time for the scriptures. You ain't got time to understand your heritage. You got time. Hey, we was out in Stratford, right? Shalom as well. We was out in Stratford. Shalom to everyone that's gonna join in as well. We was out in Stratford, by the way, and we seen a Jake. He's with two Edomites. Trying to say, hey, come brother, come get the word, man. Come hear the word. The Edomite lady kind of said something. The lady responded, said, no, he's coming with me. This Jake, he doesn't know what, he's probably going to freak off, right? When really he should be coming to hear this word, man. Because and that goes back to the point where it says we used to be tender amongst each other, but it says what? His eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave, right? So the Israelite man, he's gonna be a weak. It's gonna be a weak mindset he's gonna have. We don't want to be like that, right? We don't want to aim to be like these characteristics we see here, right? We don't want to be like that. So let me pull up something in there, because I'm gonna have to switch through. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to switch. I'm gonna pull up on the King James app as well, right? Because we don't want to be. We want to aim to be righteous men. Right? We don't want to be lovers of ourselves, right? We don't want to be that's not it, man. That's not it. But when you're in this captivity, right? Let me get that as well before. When you're in this captivity, you're accustomed to what is given to you. Right? It's like almost they want you to sin. They want you to be wicked. Because I'm sure, like even with us as so-called blacks, when they see us doing wickedness, they enjoy that. That's something we're doing our job. But when we're actually following the words of God and we understand who we are according to the words of God, hey, there's a different way you got to move, right? There's different ways you got to act as a man, right? But let's read that. It's Romans 12 and 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, right? Holy being set apart, being different. You're not having the mindset of being effeminate, right? Let's say that you're not being effeminate. You're being a man, right? Acceptable unto Yahweh, which is your reasonable service. So as men, we have something that we're required to do, right? Or even sisters, well, we have a requirement as the children of Israel of something that we have to do, right? Verse 2 as well. It says, and be not conformed to this world, right? Meaning what? The things that they give to you, right? Don't be, okay, well, You know, I'm a man. I need to get my hustle on. I need to get my grind on. Trap times 10, right? Right. That's what, you know, this world throws at you. They want you to be carnal, think carnally. That's what we don't want to be carnal. I want to be spiritual, right? It says, "Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good, that acceptable and perfect will of God." Right? That's what we want to do. We want to renew our mind as men, as righteous men, as the Israelites. We want to renew our mind, right? Because that's what a man's gonna do. Because you get to the point as a man where, you know, how are you gonna be? How are you gonna be? Damn. I seen this brother. I think is on a TikTok video or something, doing a quote unquote a smash or pass. He's 30. He's 38 or 32, and it's like, you know, obviously you might maybe he's a spiritual eunuch, but you're on smash or pass, so that's not what you're doing, obviously, evidently, right? But what we, you know, you can't be 30 and you're doing that really and truly, right? You gotta really be, you gotta come to the house of learning, right? Let me get that, because that's what, you know, as men we gotta be able to read these scriptures. We gotta read, right? So Revelation 1:3, it says, "Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy," right? So us as men, right, daughters of Zion, right, we're blessed by reading this and hearing the words of the prophecy, and what, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. Hey, the time is at hand. We can see, hey, there's things kicking off. We had a very zealous brother the other day came up to us in Harlem, and he's saying, "Hey, the ends, hey, it's time." Like, he was kind of zealous about it. His brother's like maybe 13. His brother, like, blessed is he, man. If he's reading and he's watching what's going on. That's a blessed brother. And imagine being in the truth, right, from such a young age, right? You're gonna be built up. You're gonna be built up. You're gonna be, oh yeah, I gotta keep my fingers. You're gonna be set apart. You're gonna be set apart. You ain't gonna be following the crowd. You're not gonna be, okay, well, what are they doing? You're gonna be thinking about that, right? And that's something we gotta learn to let go of, man. Everyone, oh, well, I want to follow them. I want to. Well, you gotta be that brother that takes heed to the word, that's reading the word. If you're reading, and then you know, okay, cool. There's certain things I can't be around them, right? Because everyone talks about, oh, wisdom, or what's the wisdom, right? Well, let's read what Solomon was saying, right? So, book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 1. It says, "Hear ye." It says, Proverbs 4:1, "Hear ye children the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding." Right? As men, because the man is the head of the household, right? The man being the head of the household, if he's ruling correctly, then the house is, and it's a domino effect. The house is in order. The wife, his wife, his rib is in order, right? Then the kids, right? And then it all prays to the Most High. That's what it should be. However, now, if it's not, what do you think happens? It's a Genesis part 2. And now the serpent, he beguiles you, and now you're confused. Right? Now your household is overthrown. Right? It says this. This is Proverbs 4:2. "For I give you good doctrine, forsake you not my law." Right? Because as the men of the Lord, right, women as also, right, we gotta not forsake. This is good doctrine to keep the law, to not forsake it. Right? Verse 3, "For I was my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother." Right? Verse 4, "He taught me also and said unto me, Let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments and live." Right? Because that's what we're supposed to do. Obviously, you know, we see it's a stepping stone to coming into this truth. You're not going to be, all right, cool, I'm ready to keep the tabernacle, I'm ready to keep tabernacles, I'm ready to keep the Passover, but you're not even keeping the Sabbath. So it's all a process of time to get to that point where you're mighty in the scriptures, right? You're diligent, right, when it comes to keeping the command. That's what it's all about. You get to that point, No one ever got to that point and just said, "Cool, I know all the breakdowns, I know everything." No, you built up. You built up slowly. That's what it is. Right? Some brothers quicker than others, some not. Right? I'll read on. It's Proverbs 4 and 5. It says, "Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth." So when you're hearing the words coming out, and you want to say, "No, no, no," you kind of put in your ears like that. You don't want to hear the word. You don't want to hear the word, right? And that's wicked, man. Right? Because hearing these words, that's your source of life, right? So let's get that point as well, actually, and first, because this is a really good, precept, right? Showing that there's hierarchy and there's order, right? There is hierarchy and there is order to everything, right? It's the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 3. "But I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and that the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is God," right? For you so-called Trinitarians, right? Christ has a head, right? We as men, we have a head, which would be Christ, right? That's our mediator, right? Christ is a mediator between man and the Most High, right? So if the woman, right, through the head of the woman, we gotta have ourselves in order, right? We gotta wanna dwell in the place of understanding, right? Because we don't sometimes, like, it's we get caught up in the world. You do get caught up in the world, right? Let's get that, right? This is the book. This is Old English, right? Very, very Old English, but nonetheless, we'll read it. Actually, well, I'll go into the King James Standard Version, but all right, it's a book of Matthew, chapter 6, and verse 19. I'll start from. It says, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doeth corrupt, where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt, where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart also be." So if you're thinking about being carnal and thinking carnally, yes, obviously you have to work. That's but don't let that have dominion over you. And now, rather than keeping the Sabbath day, you're saying, "Yeah, blood. What's the next move, man? What, we going Birmingham?" Nah, you don't want to be thinking about that, because that's the wrong things to be thinking about, man. That's being carnal. That's you're putting the Most High. That's idolatry, really. To try and put the Most High, or to try and put going to damn Birmingham above keeping the Sabbath day. That's idolatry, right? Because you're idolizing that. You're putting that before the Most High. Last I checked, it was the Most High that made you, not Birmingham City, right? So where your treasure is, that's where it says. Let's read it again. "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." Obviously, your heart's talking about your mind, right? It's not going to be you're literally your heart's there, but that's where your mind's at, because that's all you're thinking of. If you're thinking to do wickedness, well, you're gonna. That's what you're gonna get, right? Because we have to learn as men, right? That we shouldn't mock the Most High. We shouldn't try. Let's try and tempt. Maybe I'm going to test the Most High. I'm going to see. Okay, maybe we'll see what he's saying. Right? There isn't no we'll see what he's saying. And now you're trying to tempt God in that. Right? You're trying to tempt Yahweh and say, "Well, I guess I'm better than," and the Lord might smite you asunder, man. Right? It's the book of Galatians, chapter 6 and verse 7. "Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." So we have to have that understanding, right? That we can't, we don't willfully sin. We want to be men that are knowledgeable in the scriptures, right? We want to be men that we want to have the fruits of the spirit, right? Because even when it comes to dealing with people, right, you might be in certain situations where, you may have to. You can't just be a simp, right? You can't be a simp, right? You cannot be a simp. That's one thing, and that's one thing that's pushed in this society, right? We get as men, we you know, you see, I'm sure everyone's seen what's going on with this damn Cat Williams thing, right? Certain videos, right, like of I believe it's of like Kevin Hart, right? We don't want to sell our souls, right? We don't be sellouts. We don't be wicked men that say, cool, let's depart from keeping God's commandments. We don't want to do that. We don't want to be one of those guys, okay, let's stop keeping the commandments, right? Just like during the time of the Maccabees, right? Let's read that. It's First Maccabees 1 and 11. In those days, there went out, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Right? So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Right? So you have our people as well that are kind of saying, well, you know, I want to be Al Pacino and all that, man, trying to be gangsters in it. I want to be like that. I want to give me a gun. But in our community, we need to understand, you know, these things, they're going to catch you and then they do something just terrible to you, right? Now your family, your kids, left a kid, you got a baby mom, she's there. Like, you know, there's certain situations we're put in as Jake. The heathen, they don't really have that. They're right with, you know, how they move about, and like, that's fine. But we got to be circumspect. We can't be trying to make covenants with them, right? We got to hold fast to the world, to the word, Salakia, not to the world. You know, hold fast to the word, because this is our comfort. The word that we have here, this is the comfort that we should have, right? We have as men to keep us going, right? This is a light to us, right? Salakia, some of these verses, man. Because you see, let me go to another one as well, man. Right. So, but I'm gonna go to Sirach. Right. Sirach 27. Right. Sirach 27. Right. I'll start from verse 1. No, so I'll jump straight to the point. Right. It's the book of Sirach or Ecclesiastes, right, chapter 27 and verse 3. It says, unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall be soon overthrown. Right? So, hey, this one is just like, well, it makes sense, because if you're not keeping the Most High's ordinances, he doesn't have use of you. If you're not doing, you know, what you've been set to do, the Most High is just gonna all right, cool, safe. I bring that guy in. Right, that's what happens. It's just like in a football team, right? You're playing kind of dead. They kind of drop you and they bring somebody else in. That's what happens. You get dropped you get pumped. You get pumped from the team, right? You get pumped from the team, and now you're on the bench because you didn't, like, for example, let's put that analogy with the Most High, and then, you know, obviously, like with a football team, the Most High told you, hey, this is how you're gonna do this, do that on the pitch, and now you're trying to do damn skill time. You're doing bare skills, and the Most High's not dealing with that. The Most High said, hey, look, keep it plain and simple, just do this. Now you're telling then that's the coach, for example. You're telling the coach, no, I'm doing what they're gonna sub you off, right? So that's why it says, you know, unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall be soon overthrown, right? And now you're going after a strange woman, right? Now you're invested in the wrong things. You're invested, you know, in not keeping the commandments. You're not fearing the Lord. You're not holding yourself diligently in the fear of the Lord, right? And that's why you see a lot of us, you know, where we get enticed by, especially men be getting yeah, you might say, yeah, you know, we, you know, Eve, you know, she's, but hey, you have to have a mind of your own as a man. You can't be a simp, man. You know, maybe I'll put up some videos and you can see, you know, so you can see simps. You can see what a simp is, right? Just, you know, you don't want to be a simp, man, right? Because that's not, you know, people like Kevin Samuels, man, rest in peace, because he was teaching, you know, even brothers. You can't just be like, you know, overweight as well, right? You gotta learn to, you gotta have a righteous balance. You definitely have to have a righteous balance, right? Because that's you know, a man is gonna hold himself. David could jump over walls, right? In the time of Jacob's trouble, for example, I can't. Hey, you gotta, you know, you have to have a righteous balance. You definitely have to have a righteous balance, right? Let me see if I can get that as well, because that's important. Health is important, right? Even as brothers, health is important, right? Let me see if I can find a piece of. Right, let me get that. That is First John. Let me find that. Because that's important as well, man. Right? Let me see. There we go. Right? Because let me get third. I was almost there. All pages nonetheless. Right? Right? Let me see that. Let me get Third John. Salakia. Right? So cool. Let me get. This is a book. Right, you see, this is the English, man. It's the English that's messed me up a little bit. But hey, we will deal with it, right? This is the book of 3 John, chapter 1, and I'll start from verse 2, right? This is 3 John, chapter 3 John 1 and verse 2. It says, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. So, hey, brothers, we are ancestors too. You have to be healthy. You got that's you want to be okay. Jacob's trouble. You know, go on. You know, I'll catch. There's no catching up, right? Right. You gotta be healthy too, right? You gotta be healthy. You definitely gotta take care of yourself, right? You don't want to just be a bum, right? You don't want to be a bum. You want to make sure, like it says here, it says, even as thy soul prospers. So that's a righteous balance. Just yeah, okay. Just as your spirit, right, is is healthy, right? You want to have that same thing for your fitness. You know, working out. Hey, there's nothing wrong with working out, right? You know, keeping yourself active, right? That's good. That's prosper. That's you know. It says, I wish that above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, be in good health, right? Because maybe we want to definitely be in good health, right? But can't. It's definitely going to continue. And even on that point as well, like I said, let's not get enticed. We don't want to get enticed as brothers. We don't want to. Okay, we've seen something, right? Kind of now you're but it happens. It does happen. But that's we got to be circumspect. We got to be diligent, and we got to hold ourselves fast, right? And really, that comes with. Let me go here first. Actually, that comes with who you're rubbing your shoulders with, right? Who you're around, what you kind of things you're putting, you know, into your mind, right? Yeah, here we go. So, book of Proverbs, chapter 24 and verse 21, it says, My son, fear thou the Lord and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change. Right? As men, you got to have that mind. You know, these guys are kind of wicked. They just always smoking all the time. Can't be around that. Part of me. You can't be around that. How's that going to affect me? Because now you're going to start thinking like them and having that same mindset of wanting to be around people that have that same mindset, right? I'll read on. It says, verse 22, for their calamity shall rise suddenly, and who knoweth the ruin of them both? Because hey, now you're doing their thing, and now your whole possibility of inheriting the kingdom, now you kind of wiped it clear. Because the Most High is watching that. The Most High was watching all of us. You're trying to, you know, do some sort of freakism, and you kind of put something over you. You think, okay, you can't see me, right? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, man. Right? Can't. But let's you get that as well in Sirach 15. I have to understand that this is not 16:11, but we'll go to Sirach 15. Because we definitely got to be circumspect. Right? Come. This book of Sirach, chapter 15 and verse number 8. It says, verse number 18, sorry. It says, for the wisdom of the Lord is great, and he is mighty in power, and beholdeth all things. Right? Reading on, it says, and his eyes are upon them that fear him, and he knoweth every work of man. So the Most High, he knows what we're going to do before we do it. The Most High knows our intentions. He knows, okay, well, this guy, he probably looking down at us. Yeah, this guy, he probably thinks he's going to do it. He's going to try and duke me. But the Most High knows. The Most High knows. He knows the work of man, every work of man, right? It says, verse 20, he hath commanded no man to do wickedly, neither have he given any man a license to sin. So the Most High did to say, okay, cool, you know, yeah, do what you want, you know, grace. I have grace, right? We're not Christians. In this truth, we're reading the Bible, and we know we're Israelites. We're not Christians. We don't just stand upon the point of having grace, right? That's not the way to go. Yeah, you have grace, but hey, you don't want to sin willfully. Grace it's a grace period. It's a grace period, right? Not just a damn, oh yeah, well, I'm do it. No, it's a grace period. So brothers, you got to be circumspect with that, man, right? But let me add the brothers kind of, you know, jumped in, right? Shalom.
Shalom.
Right. So yeah, like I was saying, I was just making a point about how
Shalom.
you can hear me, yeah? No praises, right? I was just making a point about how the Most High hasn't given us like license to sin, and saying how we as, you know, being a godly man, right? You can't think I'm you know, Most High's kind of, you know, I'm doing what I'm doing. I kind of put like an umbrella, right? You put the gazebo over you, and the Most High, he can't see me, right? And now you're doing that, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we gotta be, you know, the Most High knows our move. It's like a chess game. The Most High knows the move we're gonna make before we make it, right? But you wanna make a point?
I'll go to Sirach chapter 23, verse 19 on that point. It says, such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts. And some people, they actually think that, you know, because no one's around and no one's seeing what I'm doing, that I'm away with it. I'm good. You know, nothing's gonna happen to me. I can just continue in it. And we don't want to have that mindset with thinking that the coming of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai is delaying, and you just do what you want to do now. You know, these signs are beautiful that we're seeing. The wars that we're seeing are amazing because they're refreshing to the spirit for the Israelites that are actually working and laboring, to know that time is short and things are happening so that it can increase our faith and give us faith, rather than, you know, the Lord not giving us faith. When he makes these things happen, as soon as 2024 hit, signs happening, you know, this is all because the Lord wants us to know that he's not just in the heavens just sleeping, man. He knows everything that's going on in the earth, and he's brought all of these things to pass because he wants the Israelites to wake up. As you were saying in the beginning, had about the brother that came up to camp, and he said that like time is short, you know. So people are seeing these things, and it's really waking them up in the spirit, and that's what's mighty about what's going on right now. Yeah, go on.
Khan, and even on that point, right? I'm gonna go to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, and I'll read from verse 9. Right? It says, "For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto Yahweh." Right? So we can't people say, "Oh, well, God knows my heart," right? With chest you'll say that, God knows my heart, right? And he hates the sin, he doesn't hate the sinner. That's the some wicked mindset that, yeah, he doesn't, because I sinned, God still loves me. Right? And then you ask Christian, you ask Jake, right? You say, well, grace. It's just grace, man. Right? It says verse 10, it says, "For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it." Meaning, it's going in terms of the idols, right? So men, when you want to idolize something before the Most High, hey, that thing that you was idolizing, right? And the Lord's gonna destroy you, right? Because you're putting something above the Most High, and we shouldn't be doing that, right? Khan, you got it.
And on that point as well about the heart, I'm gonna go to this precept in Genesis chapter 6 verse 5. As I mentioned earlier, the heart is, our mindset. It's Genesis chapter 6 verse 5. It says, "And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." So the heart is where you get the imagination of your thoughts. And, the Most High, when he sees that that's evil, we saw what happened, in the time of Noah. And that's what's going on right now. A lot of people, their mind is evil. When it comes to the Most High, their mind is they don't care about the Most High. Right? We call our brothers and our sisters unto the marriage, and they don't care. They'd rather smoke weed. They'd rather walk around with their that are of the world and of the other nations. But the Most High says that our heart, is desperately wicked. So in order to become righteous, we need to make sure we prioritize the things that are in our mind. I'm gonna go to Mark chapter 7. In order for us to be righteous, it starts in the mind. Like how they say, it starts at home. The home of our thoughts is the mind. So that's where it starts for us. It doesn't start because you stopped eating pork. That's not where it starts. It all starts in the mind. And that's what Yahushua was saying. This is Mark chapter 7 and I'll start verse 20. It says, "And he said, that which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man." So what defiles you is what comes out of you. It's not what goes into you. So even if a lot of Christians, they break it down wrong. But even if you look at it, when it comes to unclean food, it will defile you for a portion of time, and then you can become clean after evening. right? Not that you should eat anyway, but when it comes to congregating, you'll be unclean even if you touch it. So it says in verse 21, for from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts. Because if you even think about eating pork, it's a sin because it came out of your heart. So it's not, so Yahushua is saying it's not even what you're outwardly doing that is the sin. It's why you even thought about doing it in the first place. That's where the sin actually begins, the evil thoughts. So, like it says in Proverbs 24, verse 9, that the thought of foolishness is sin. You know, thinking about adultery is sin. Thinking about hating your brother, envying your brother is sin. Thinking about stealing, thieving, any type of evil, all of that is sin. Just thinking about it, just it being in your mind. Because the only difference between you and someone else that's done it is you just didn't have the opportunity to do it, but you was reveling in the idea of the opportunity. So you're not any better. So we have to make sure we rebuke those thoughts. That's where it actually starts, right? You might just be hindered from sinning, but if you haven't actually acted on it, that doesn't make you any better. Because if it's in your mind, you're still that same person. You're just not doing it. So we can't just have evil minds and then doing what we want to do. So I read on, it says, for from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders. So all of these things come out of the mind. So any sin, so really all of this is talking about the commandments, right? Thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man. So all these things, Yahushua is talking about the commandments. All of these, there's a precept for every single one of those things in the law. And Yahushua is letting us know when you're in sin, it actually starts in your mind. It doesn't start because of what you see, what you did physically, because that's someone can see that, can judge that. But the Most High can judge all of the thoughts that are in your mind.
Man. And even on that point, right, I'm going to go to Proverbs chapter 24, and I'll start from verse 7. It says, wisdom is too high for a fool. He openeth not his mouth in the gate. Because you see, when we're at camp and you see people kind of, see you Hebrew Israelites, well, I'm going to give you guys a miss. Because that's the wisdom is too high for them. The wisdom that we have in the scriptures, right? The wisdom that's actually going to rejuvenate their spirit and correct them, and they hate it. They say, no. I'm gonna skip past. I'm not trying to hear you guys, right? It says, he that is verse 8, he that deviseth to do evil shall be called a mischievous person, right? So you have certain people kind of, okay, I'm gonna do this. You kind of at the feast days where it's supposed to be a place of righteousness, right? Sabbath day, you're eyeing down, you're being covetous, right? You're eyeing down, you're desiring something that's not yours. You're saying, I'm looking at that, and you're reading or whatever. You're looking over there. You're desiring something else, right? You're a mischievous person. Now you got that swiper spirit, right? And now we gotta do your Dora. She's saying, or swipe with it. You have to say it together, swiping and swiping. That's rebuking the guy that's trying to, or even the sister that's trying to do something wicked. Mainly the men though, because this is about being a godly man, right? Because it starts with the man. Really, when the man's in order, that's where it's going to start from. Verse 9, it says, the fault of foolishness is sin, and the scorner is an abomination to men. So if you're thinking in your mind, you're plotting, you're rubbing your hands together, you're making a fire, right? You're about to do a madness, and that's sin in itself, right? So that's where you got to rebuke. You got to be able to, and when you're around brothers that are trying to be righteous, and you're going to be sifted out. Certain things are going to be said, and they're going to, now you have to change how you act. Now you got to kind of double back and do something else, right? That's where it goes back to now, because right? It says, you know, like I'll read that again. It says, the thought of foolishness is sin, and the scorner is an abomination to men. Because now that person, they're gonna want to be around. They stop texting you, right? Because what you're saying when you're correcting someone, hey, that's too much, right? Let me get another precept as well, right? I'm gonna go to as well Ecclesiastes chapter 7, right? Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7, because we you know, even with that point of being you know, you're thinking about stuff, right? That's perverse in itself, right? You want to rebuke those thoughts, right? But this is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 29, and it says, "Lo, this only have I found, that God have made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions." So, you know, the Most High, we're made in His image, right? We're made like so and so, we're made like this. All praises, but then us, we're now trying to say, you know what, I could do something else with that, right? The Most High gave us sacrifices to you know, to for atonement, right? You're saying, no, let me use that, right? Because you know the life is in the blood. Let me use that and let me try and get rich, right? You're thinking, okay, right? I'm a man, right? You don't have any accountability. No one can correct you. No one can tell you nothing, right? Well, I'm a man. You're just using "I'm a man" as an excuse to just be wicked. Well, I'm a man. You know, I can. The Most High didn't make us. The Most High made us to be upright, but now we're thinking other things in our minds, right? Okay, yeah, well, maybe I'm gonna be like this. Right? The Most High said we were made to be upright, but that's due to our own desires, us being covetous, right? Let me get that as well. Right? It's the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 17. It says, "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's." Right? And let me just pull it up as well. I want to pull up the word covet. Right? Pull up that word covet. Because it's good, and that's why the blue letter is very useful to understand the meaning, right? To understand the meanings of words, right? It says, so obviously this blue letter Bible, let me zoom out a bit, right? It says covet, right? Hamad. It says to desire, covet, take pleasure in, delight, right? So you want to be, you know, you're married, you know, you got a rib, right? And now you're looking at somebody else's. You're saying, yeah, you're desiring somebody else's, right? And now you're letting a woman, right? A woman's destroying you now. You had a little bit of wine, now you're thinking something mad. And obviously, you know, some people say they don't drink wine, that's perfectly fine. Some people do, and that's fine. But you know, that's why, you know, drink is made to make man merry, not to damn make you think I'm gonna freak off with his wife. That's not what it's for. That's not being a godly man, right? But Kanye, you got it. All right. My brother got a bit of issue with that, but Khan, you good? Mm. Okay, I think you gotta meet yourself up. You're gonna, but Khan, I think got a point. I'll continue. Okay, continue.
Second Peter chapter 2, verse 13, on what you were saying. It says, "And shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, as they count it pleasure to riot in the daytime." There's people that find they're good at just going off in the daytime. That they're to the point where they have no shame. They even, because you've got some people they wait until nighttime, and then that's when you do. No one's around. It's dark. No one's gonna see me. I can just wear, a ski mask. No one's gonna know who I am. And tuck in my fringes and just go about the ways and do whatever they want to do. Some people, they don't even care. Like they just don't care at all. Not to say that's right. Wait till nighttime and then sin. I'm saying some people's their level of shame is just so nil that they even sin in the daytime, right? They're even wicked in the daytime in front of your face, and they don't even care, right? You might tell them that they're doing what's wrong, and then they just they're just saying, "Oh, where's or show me that's wrong," and you show them it's wrong, and they're not trying to hear it, or they might say, "Yeah, I hear it, my bad," but then they continue doing it, right? They count it pleasure to write in the daytime. It says spots they are and blemishes. So we don't want to have spots and blemishes on our garments, and all of us were a representation of one another. So we don't want to have spots and blemishes around us. It says sporting themselves with their own deceivings, right? So they're playing themselves, right? Sporting themselves. They're playing themselves. They think that they're actually in this truth. Because this is talking about people that think they're in the truth, right? Meaning that their own deceivings, and they believe that they are righteous. They believe that because they got their fringes on, because they've got their head wrap on, because they've got their might garments on and their staff and the Passover. They're believing and deceiving themselves to think that they are righteous. Just like a Christian would try and say that they are saved. You got certain Israelites that might think that, I'm gonna make it in the kingdom, and this is how I'm gonna be in the kingdom. I'm gonna have this many servants. I'm gonna be beating up this Moabite. I'm gonna be doing this to this person. People are actually deceiving themselves, creating their own reality. Yeah, I'm gonna have this many wives. People are saying they're making these scenarios and assuming they're going to be in the kingdom and they're going to have this and they're going to have that, when really and truly they're not guaranteed that. And there's certain people that believe that right now, but the Most High said they're deceiving themselves, and they're actually spots and blemishes. And even in the daytime, when you're around and when you're not around, they're doing the will of their father, which is the devil, as it says in John 8:44, speaking in the context about Israelites that are wicked and evil, right? It says, sporting themselves with their own deceivings while they feast with you, right? While they feast with you at your feast days, right? At your, you're at camp, right? You see your brother, he might come up. You're thinking, oh yeah, the brother's might, he hearkened to the word. He might just go straight back into the world. You might tell him to put that spliff down, and he might, think, yeah, that's my. But he might go home and pick up a whole 3-5, straight right there, right, a whole Z. You don't know who's righteous, man. Some people behind closed doors, they're doing evil. So there's people, Yahweh was saying that they're feasting with you and they're just lying to themselves. They're just they're unrighteous, they're deceitful, they're a hypocrite. All right, this is verse 14. It says, having eyes full of adultery. So in the feast days, like the brother was saying, they've got eyes full of adultery. They're looking around other brothers' wives and stuff at the feast days. That's not what this truth is about, man. But you got people that are like that were like that, and therefore will be like that in these last days too. So we have to make sure we remove the spots and blemishes. We want to be a holy garment in this thing, right? It says, having eyes full of adultery that cannot cease from sin. And they can't stop sinning. You might rebuke them on one thing, and they're like, yeah, cool. Next thing, they're doing another thing. Right? You tell them, oh yeah, you might catch someone stealing, and you rebuke them for stealing. And like, all right, cool, yeah, my bad. Tomorrow they're lying. And it's like, oh, come on. Later, bro, you can't be lying, man. That's off, right? Next thing, they're breaking the Sabbath. And it's like, they just can't cease from sin. They're just Just lust into sin, man. Right? Rather than, oh, I need to get myself right. Nah, I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing because no one's gonna find out anyway. And it's not that deep. I got grace. You got certain Israelites who just saying, yeah, man, I got grace. I can just commit any sin I want. That's not what this truth is about, right? Having eyes full of adultery that cannot cease from sin, beguiling unstable souls, right? So just evil men with, wicked and treacherous lies. It says, and heart that they have exercised with covetous practices. I mean, some people they're going to gym every day, right? 6 days a week, taking a Sabbath day off. They go into the gym and they are working on their muscles, their muscle groups, their biceps, their triceps, their abs, their quads, and whatever. They're really trying to work, their muscle groups so they can get stronger. You got evil and wicked people that 6 days, 7 days a week, right? They even doing it on the Sabbath day. They're exercise envy. They're working out how they can desire things that don't belong to them. They're working out how they can lie better. You got like certain books like the 48 Laws of Power, whatever it's called, and all these type of worldly type of wisdom, which can tell you how to manipulate people and stuff like that. Maybe the 50 Laws of Power. All I know is these are not the laws of God. And
Right.
people, they get themselves infatuated with how to lie. Oh yeah, how to commit adultery. Oh yeah, if you want to take this man's girl, you got to kind of say this and then kind of dress like this. And you got to kind of, put this out there. And if you want to kind of steal this chain from this brother, you got to kind of hide in this spot. You got to kind of lure him out. You got this setup chick, you kind of lure him out and stuff like that, right? People are exercised in wickedness and covetous practices. They are masters in this thing. So certain people, you might not see that they think they're wicked because they're actually an expert in it. They're a master in deceiving you. So we don't want to be simple in this truth at all, ignorant of anything. Because some people, they're actually they got a PhD in being a deceitful person, right? I'm gonna finish that. It says, and heart, meaning the mind, as you're saying, they have exercised with covetous practices, cursed children. Some people are cursed, man, right? The Most High is cursed them, and you don't want to have these people, around you, or be one of these people, right?
Carnal. Right. That's really and truly. That's why it comes down to, even on both topics of being a godly man and repentance in itself, it comes down to having humility, right, to accept rebuke, to be able to take rebuke. Because people love, like, in the lesson we went over on the Sabbath, people love giving judgment, right? But now when there's someone saying it to you, you're kind of putting your face down. Why are you saying this, bro? Why are you saying this in front of everyone? Why would you do this? That's how people start moving, right? Well, brother, I done, Matthew 18 and 15, right? Now I gotta go down the verse, right? This is that verse, right? So now I'm doing it. I need the witnesses now. And they say, oh, well, hey, like you said, the PhD in deception, man. PhD, they got a master's, right? First class, whatever it is, man. The highest one, right? This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, and I'll read from verse 31, right? It says this. It says, the ear that heareth the reproof of life abideth among the wise. So people that are really sincere, you're gonna see, they're gonna, oh, okay, so lucky, they're gonna be able to take that rebuke. They're gonna be amongst those that actually, they die hard, riding for the Most High, right? That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna abide amongst the wise, because being amongst the wise, you're gonna understand your flaws that you have, and someone's gonna say, okay, brother, hey, maybe you should have done like this. That's what it's about, right? It says verse 32. He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. Right? Because to be corrected, hey, that's better. Then to suffer sin is better. It's better to be corrected, like it says in Sirach 20, and I believe it's verse 1 to 3. It's better to get hear rebuke than to just, okay, I'm not trying to hear it. Hey, Salakia, but I'm the one that's leading the camp, right? So therefore, right, hey, this is why you know what I'm saying? That's how people be moving. Right? No one can correct them. Hey, but hey, what does the scripture say? Right? It says, he that refuses, if you refuse an instruction, right, you despise your own soul. He that you're hearing the reproof, you get a better understanding of, okay, cool, as a man, right, what I need to do. Right? Verse 33, the fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. So that's having humility, man. Right? See that? All praises. Shalom.
Hey, shalom, shalom. Can you hear me?
Come
Um,
Praises.
Might want to check your audio as well, though. But yeah, like I was saying, it says before honor is humility. So we gotta have humility in this truth. As men, we gotta learn to be humble. You can't walk around with the same spirit you had in the world, right? You gotta die daily. It's not the Christian church where you got damn, like I said to the, like I said, they have this thing in the Christian church. They call the pastor. They call him daddy. They're calling him daddy, right? And he sat on the high seat. He sat on that big high seat up there, and you're clapping, right? You can't have that same spirit, right? Even as an elder, you can't have that spirit in the truth, right? You can't have that. Okay, cool. I'm up there. No one can talk. And you got yes men now. Now you're a yes man. Like and now they're telling you to come over here and drink it monkey style, right? That's what they tell you. Now you're drinking the drink. You're at Passover and you're drinking the wine monkey style. Right, but Khan, you got it.
Funny. And on that, to add to that, this is Psalms 141. I'll start verse 3 though. It says, set a watch, O Yahweh, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. That's a chief thing. Our mouth is a door, man. It's a gateway that you can release whatever's behind that. So either the Most High is behind that and you can show forth wisdom, or Satan's behind that and you show forth lies, you show forth iniquity. So we want to make sure that the Most High is watching our mouth and not just we're saying anything that we want to say. This is imperative, highly, highly important. Verse 4 says, incline not my heart to any evil thing, to practice wicked works with men that work iniquity, and let me not eat of their dainties. So, as brother was saying, we want to look at the people that are doing the evil, wicked works, practicing them. They're practicing it, man. The people they're training for the big day, their match day, where they can do their sin that they're just building themselves up for. Some people they're doing small sins. When people are doing small sins, I'm just say, oh yeah, it's just that. No, we have to, as the brother was saying, rebuke that, because that can end up being practice for a bigger sin. So if that person, you just lying a little bit, and even if that's you or us, if you're just lying a little bit, and you're stealing a little bit, and you're being deceitful, you're envying a little bit, you're bearing grudges. All of these little things will build up to a whole character of someone who's just a reprobate completely. So all of these small sins will add up to a villain, right? All of these attributes will just tick off all the boxes. So instead of being a person that's just fallen, you're just a person that just fell out of the truth. All right, I'm gonna read verse 5. It says, "Let the righteous smite me, it shall be a kindness." So is the main point. If the righteous smites you, it should be a kindness. I mean, if you get caught up by the scriptures, or you get caught up by another brother, you get caught up by another sister, and you didn't like it, it hurt. That's you being smitten. But that's something that's done in righteousness. Then that's actually a kindness. So don't take it as a, you get mad at someone for, rebuking you or something, or bringing something up. This is all trying to provoke good works and encourage you onto righteousness. It's not always gonna feel nice, but that's fine. You know, exercising doesn't always feel nice, but that's how you grow. Studying for hours upon hours might not always feel nice, but everything is how you grow, right? All these things that are for righteousness is how we grow, right? It says, "And let him reprove me, it shall be an excellent oil." So in order to grow, we have to be reproved, we have to receive correction. That's the only way you can grow in this thing. And there can be multiple ways that you can learn from. And we don't want to despise any type of correction. We don't want to despise any type of wisdom that can make you grow, because at the end of the day, the people that are growing and the people that make it, they're gonna make mistakes on the way. Abraham made mistakes on the way. Everyone makes mistakes on the way, right? But that's how you grow. If you learn from those mistakes, then you can live to tell the tale about you being a person who's learned from his mistakes. If you don't learn from those mistakes and you continue on those things in your pride, you're going to be someone who the Most High judged because you didn't like to listen. So it's better to be the person who actually learns and listens and is open to that receiving of understanding so that you can grow, right? Rather than being hard-headed. The Most High told us that our people are going to be stiff-necked. We don't want to be one of those people that don't turn their heads around onto the right way and the right path.
Yeah, Khan. We'll see. Sapaya had a point before I go on. Probably fixing his audio, but yeah, Khan, you got a point? Okay, Khan,
Yeah.
you got.
Can you hear me better a little bit?
Khan.
No praise. Yeah, man. Like, oh, praise. Like the brothers already brought out very mighty points, but mainly the point integrity, actually, which is also found in the scripture, by a term itself, is really what you're reminding me of, So I just wanted to bring a couple verses, 2-3 verses maybe about integrity, and then brothers go on, with the path that you're already in the spirit. So yeah, man. But I wanted to hop on that point right now. I believe it's Proverbs 122. Let me see. Yeah, Proverbs chapter 1 verse 22. How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity, and the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. So we can't be like that, We can't be, always. I believe in the book of Ezekiel chapter 33 verse 35 or something like that. Or 32, 35, something like that, talking about, that there are certain people that even might listen to you, listen, hey, you have to keep the commandments, listen, you have to do this and that, acknowledging even the truth. Even, when I, was in my so-called home country, the same thing actually happened to me, that I brought out the truth to them, to my people. But a lot of people, even acknowledged it, but, you kind of like an instrument, like a pleasant instrument, and they are not actually taking heed to it, actually to start keeping the commandments, And a godly man, is obviously a wise man. So you can see in the book of Sirach 19 and 20, for example, the application of knowledge, this is actually wisdom, But I just wanted to bring out a couple of points about integrity, actually. Let me get the book of Proverbs chapter 11 verse 3, it says, "The integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them." The integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them. So you have to have a certain type of integrity. You know, Job the prophet, for example, was a very great example for integrity. When you read the book of Job, chapter 2, verse 3, for example, talking about, that the Most High said, "Hey, look at Job. He's an upright and perfect man. Look at his integrity." Even in the book of Job 2 and 9, his own woman said, "Hey, curse finally God and die, because all these testings happened to him, everything, all the plagues." So integrity is something, what you have, for example, also in the book of, or epistle of Philippians, I believe, chapter 2, verse 12. Let me read it real quick. Philippians chapter 2, verse 12. And then one precept, man, I'm a yield then, Khan. It says, Philippians 2, verse 12, "Wherefore, my beloved, as ye always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling." So you, like the brother Zechariah said also, you can't be a hypocrite, like Sirach 129 is saying, for example, you can't be a hypocrite in the sight of man, but also in absence, of Yahushua the righteous, Hatazadak, you have to, because he in the beginning, when I came in, when I watched this live, I saw you brought out Sirach chapter 23, verse 19, when somebody is breaking wedlock and thinks, he's in the secret chambers and nobody sees him. You can't be like that, because you're fooling yourself, because pride's the beginning of sins, pursuant to Sirach chapter 10, I believe verse 12, So it's very important that we actually have the integrity, because, playing actually different people, but you try to play the Most High, and nobody can have, hands to box actually with God. So you only put a signature on your own downfall. So yeah, Khan, I'm yield with that.
Khan, that's a big point, because a lot of that comes even like even on the topic of being a righteous man. Like I've been screaming it from the beginning. You can't, the forefathers, they weren't simps, right? Obviously, you have some cases you see, and I'll pull them up because I wanted to read that verse. I wanted to read Job 2 and 9, for example, because that was a good point, right? So I'm gonna read it, right? It's Job chapter 2 and verse 9, and it reads, "Then said his wife unto him, Doest thou still retain thine integrity?" Right? Curse God and die. Right? Because sometimes your woman, the Lord might put a spirit on your woman to and that could be a downfall. That could be now, okay, cool. Imagine Job said, "Okay, fine." Right? And he kind of looked up and he kind of threw the finger up at the Most High. Right? Imagine what would have happened. Right? As a man, you want to keep your integrity. Right? She asked him, "Hey, do you still thou still retain thine integrity?" Right? Questioning him. Right? He said, verse 10, it says, "But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish woman speaketh. What question mark? It says, Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips," man. Because Job didn't say, "Okay, cool, yeah, I'm gonna agree with her, and now I'm cursing the Most High." Right? You don't want to do that. You don't want to let a woman be a downfall as a righteous man. Right? And I'm gonna put another one as well. Cause we had a funny instance. We had a very, very funny instance at camp this week, right? That just passed, right? So book of Sirach, chapter 25 and 21. This is the exact same precept I gave, and then I explain it, right? It says, "Stumble not at the beauty of a woman or a man," right? In this case, "and desire her not for pleasure," right? Because we had, oh my goodness, we had, was the house and we're teaching. we're calling Jake, we're trying to bid him to come to the marriage, right? Getting the precepts, as you would, right? This Jake, he's done. He sees a woman now. He's trying to go and speak to her. He's excited. Turns out, this woman is not even a woman. The woman was not even a woman. He walked past. We got the speaker out. Hey, bro, come, listen. He's walked past. He's trying to speak to the girl, and I think he was traumatized maybe by what he'd heard, what he'd seen, right? And we got on that reprobate, and then she said, "Aren't you guys teaching the Bible? We're supposed to be teaching the Bible." We said, "Whoa." So, in this instance, you see Jake. When you're not trying to achieve that righteousness, you're just gonna be carnal, and you're gonna see flesh. You're gonna see a little bit of, it's the eyelids, and now you're excited, and it's a damn man. And then this guy, he didn't even want to stay outside because he was so embarrassed by what he'd done. Imagine in Israel what they would have done. You kind of done something wicked, and they still do that in Jake countries. You commit some sort of madness, and they're gonna strip you naked and they whip you through the streets, man. He wanted to run home and say, "Okay, cool, now that nothing happened." This guy, yeah, man, yeah. But I would also want to pull a point on that as well, because you seen that same kind of spirit with Ahab, man. Ahab had that spirit, right? His wife said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll get it for you." Right? He stumbled at that, man. Right? We don't want to be, as righteous men, you don't want to have that mindset. And he ended up falling, right? Let me get that. So I'll go to 1 Kings chapter 21, and I'll start from verse 4. And it reads, "And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased, because the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him, for he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would not eat no bread." So that's an effeminate man. Ahab was an effeminate man. He probably taken by his carnal lust, seeing things. Okay, I want that. It's kind of like how a child acts. Oh, I kind of want that. You're a king. You're supposed to be a king. We're supposed to be kings. There's times where we see stuff through our carnal lens and we're like, yeah, I want that. But if the Most High wanted you to have that, he would have given you that, right? You would be ordained to have that, right? So you see here, right? Ahab kind of turned his face. He said, "Oh, that's it. We don't want to be like that. As righteous men, hey, we want to have our loins girded, man." Right? It says, but verse 5, "But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad, that thou eatest no bread?" So he didn't want to eat. He said, "Oh no, I didn't get what I want." He kind of threw his hands down, right? And obviously this is going into the account of the land, right? The inheritance that Naboth had, right? He wanted that, right? So you can see the characteristics, and this Ahab is not a good example. Ahab is not a good example. He's one of the examples that we should learn not to be like, right? Because when you read on as well, and I'll even jump to the next chapter, right? Because they ended up getting this man killed for that land, right? They bared false witness against him, right? And they took the land, right? But I'm gonna jump down to 1 Kings 22, right? Because we see that same thing. We have people that are yes men, right? The Most High will put a spirit upon people around you to be yes men towards you, right? The book of 1 Kings chapter, I'll start from 20. This is 1 Kings 22, and I'll start from 20. And it says, "And the Lord said, Who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner." Right? This is going into angels, right, on the left hand side and the right hand side, right? When you read verse 19, right, it says, "And there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him." Right? It says verse 22, and it says, "And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? He said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, Thou shalt persuade him and prevail. Also, go forth and do so." Right? So it says, now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil concerning thee. Right? But then you had righteous men that were speaking just like we would do. We speak against people. We're speaking against the wickedness of what's going on with our nation, and they say, okay, cool, we don't want to hear you. Now they put you in jail because what you're saying is actually better in the community, right? It's actually going contrary. You have yes men, right? The Lord put a spirit on yes men to just like they made Ahab fall. They said, okay, yeah, Ahab, you're gonna do your thing, go and do it, and now you go and do it, and you see Ahab, and he died, right? That was a judgment that he received for not girding up his loins and not being a godly man, right? But can't brothers go.
And on that point, man, because what happened at camp that day was a sign to show what just being indulged in this world really looks like, right? Tried to call the brother over. He's just seeing what he thinks is a woman in a crop top walking down the road, strutting her stuff, mincing, taps her on the shoulder, right? He's trying to speak to her. And yeah, man, her voice was deeper than mine, or his voice. So I'm going to go to Sirach 23, verse 17. Let's start verse 16. It says, 2 sorts of men multiply sin, and the third will bring wrath. A hot mind is as a burning fire. So there's quite a few things here, like, firstly, you can't have a hot mind. You don't want to be a hothead. It can't be always, something happens. Yeah, Ray, just fight. You're always just down for beef all the time. You're always just trying to fight brothers, because, he said, oh, well, someone accidentally interrupted you. You say, oh, what are you trying to say? Like, what? I'm just no one, right? Now you're getting mad. Now you're trying to beef someone, right? Someone comes in, he's wearing the same garment as you. Now you're beefing him. Someone comes in and, says shalom, he spuds you, he kind of bumps you a bit hard and you get offended and you're like, what? Accidentally steps on your shoe, now you're trying to fight. All of these things, that's a hot mind. We're not called to have a hot mind. We're called to have peace amongst one another. Reading on, it says, it will never be quenched till it be consumed. I mean, this man is ready to burn someone up. It says, a fornicator in the body of his flesh will never cease till you have kindled a fire. So if you're a fornicator in your flesh, you're not going to stop until you have kindled a fire, until you have burned something. Right? You're just there, you're ready to devour something with this fire, man. Verse 17, this is the point I wanted. All bread is sweet till you whoremonger. He will not leave off till he die. Right? So a whoremonger, he's going for any type of bread. There's people out there, they're so infatuated with whoremongering in their mind. They're thinking, yeah, I'm a gallus. I'm gonna get any gal. I'm gonna get any woman. I'm gonna run down and I'm gonna move to her and I'm gonna get that and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. To the point where you're so down that road that you're tapping women, you're tapping grown women, tapping young women, black women, white women, all types of women, to the point where you tap so many women, now you're tapping men, man. Now you're tapping transgenders, and you didn't even realize because you've done move to every single other woman out there. Now you ain't got no one left. Now you don't even know the difference because you're just on anything. You're just on anything that's got long hair, right, or a wig on. So you can't even tell the difference now between a man and a woman. And you want to get shocked after when brothers are out there and kind of I don't know what that brother would have done if we weren't there. He might have continued on and just said, it is what it is. I've got this far. I haven't been successful in my last few attempts. so maybe at least I can get something out. Because that's what it says. All bread is sweet to a whoremonger. You just said, hey, well, probably tastes, this bread probably tastes sweet anyway. Tastes just like brioche. All right. So this is why we have to be sincere. I'm going to Matthew chapter 10 and verse 32. It says, whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven. So like the brother was saying about integrity, you have to have integrity in that we confess their Father before everyone. And that doesn't necessarily mean, you go to work and then you bring it out at work. But when you go to work or wherever you are, you have to be a representative of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, of this truth. Your workplace should know that you're righteous, or that you are a good person. They should know that you should have a good name. You should have a good name everywhere you go. So that's really, on a deeper level, how you confess the Father before men, how you confess Yahweh Shai before men. Not that you're bringing out precepts, at the checkout in Sainsbury's, to the woman at the checkout, you say, oh yeah, hold this precept, No. I mean, you can do that, but chiefly that you're conducting yourself in wisdom everywhere you go. That's the integrity you have. Not you just conducting yourself well at a feast day, or you're conducting yourself well at camp, or just around your family, or vice versa, just around brothers and not around your family. You're teaching out, but you're not teaching the family, or vice versa. You have to have the whole package. Verse 33 says, but whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven. So if we're denying the Lord, then we will be denied. How do you deny him? Because some people, when people are around, they start getting shy now. They start doing what everyone else is doing. Start forgetting that you're in the truth now. Right? There's the examples of the brothers that, because they haven't fully left the world and fully got that out of their mind, that after knowing and hearing about the truth, they've gone back to their old ways. They've gone back to smoking. They've gone back to, fornicating. They've gone back to this because they never got it out of their mind in the first place. So when other people are around, when people are around, your light has to shine. Doesn't mean you have to be a lion in the house, but your light still has to shine. You don't have to be disrespectful, but you still have to be an example of righteousness. Don't just dim down your light because other people are around. We're not called to that. We're called to be the light of this world, not the dimness of this world. The low level. No, man, we're a light. So we are called to be examples, and when you push for that example, you're having integrity. You're not taken away from who the Most High has called us to be. We're being that in all different assets of life. We have to do that. Wherever we go, wherever we are, we have to live this truth. And that's how you make sure that, you're on the way to being chosen in this thing, to being chosen to be called out of this world, because you're not loving this world. Loving this world isn't just, being fully in it all the time. Loving this world is just, sometimes you just like to forget about this truth and just take a week off, taking a truth vacation, right? Taking a trip off this truth to Christianity. I just want to be a Christian for a week. I just want to be a Muslim for 2 months. You can't do that. You have to have no days off in this thing. All right, go on.
Can't surprise you got a point?
No, not yet.
Okay, can't, man. Yeah, man. That's right. It's got to be in season, out season, right? And that's why. This is another point. I really love this precept, right? You pull up. Really do love this precept, right? Because it talks about how if you're not putting your brick in, you shouldn't be eating, man. Right? You shouldn't be eating like obviously you break bread. And that's why when we finish camp, when you finish camp with other people and you're doing the work sincerely, the food tastes better, man. When you're keeping the commandments of people that are doing their best to stay in the spirit and trying to be righteous, it feels better, man. But when you're I'll read the precept, man. There's a book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, and it reads, I'll start from verse 10. It says, for even we, when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any man would not work, neither should he eat. So if you ain't putting in your brick, right, you ain't in the cold, in season, out season, you're not out there, you shouldn't be eating, man. That's why you see, brothers get sifted out. That's why, people are brothers are, and that's what a righteous man will do, right? You see that, for example, with the Maccabees, for example, but it wasn't ordained for them to do. But you had, I believe, there were two brothers that, they tried to gain a name in Israel, right? But that was them trying to force the course of a river, and that ended up with them dying. You don't want to do that. You want to do that, and what did the Most High? Because everything's got to be done in order. The Most High said this, all right, or the elder brother, or the leader of the camp, and he said this. That's how it's got to be done, right? We all got to put this. Not okay, Shalom. I got to go. I'm going brunch. Should it be? Brothers are out there and they're, in the cold and they're freezing, and you're going brunch, right? I read on. It says, for we hear, verse 11. For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies. So as men, you don't want to have that busybody spirit in Israel, man. You're just known for, okay, cool, I'm leaving. The brothers are teaching, I'm leaving. And you're Shalom. And then you ain't put your brick in, right? Then you get the you got that now, you got that munchy spirit. You're trying to find the bag. Where's the bag? You're looking around. You kind of, and then that's what you're doing. You can't be like that, man. Godly, righteous men don't have that kind of mindset. That's why I said, food tastes better when we finish. Kind of like I said, right? When food tastes better when it is, brothers, we finished, we done the work sincerely, right? That's what it is, man. Right? And I think brother asked a question in terms of what is order in the chat, right? Brother Zion asked what is order in the chat. We can give some precepts and go through that as well, right? But we don't want to have that busybody spirit amongst ourselves. We're just talking, we're not putting in the work, right? But brother's got it. Bring answer the questions.
I'm going to 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 40. It says, let all things be done decently and in order. So the all things that are done decently and in order is the setup of the church. You had people just committing fornication. You had people going off into other doctrines, and you had women that were trying to entice people into their own doctrine. So Paul said, let everything be done decently and in order. So the order that we have, is the order that the Most High has set up from the beginning, right? So you're gonna have. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 2. We'll start verse 20. It says, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach being the chief cornerstone. So that's our order. The chief cornerstone, which is Yahweh Shai, right? And you also have the apostles and the prophets. That's how we get in our wisdom, because these people were taught by Yahweh Shai directly. You know, they had a close, intimate relationship with him to know the secret things that we don't even see and know and understand as well. You know, it's different hearing about someone to actually living with someone, you know, laboring with them, you know, seeing their body language. It's a totally different level of being able to know someone when you're genuinely with someone. Right? Verse 21, it says, in whom all the building fitly framed together groweth unto a holy temple in the Lord. So we all need to align ourselves with Yahushua, and then, you know, by doing that, you know, we'd also be aligning ourselves with the apostles and the prophets. So they will go hand in hand. So the order in terms of wisdom and understanding, it will go through that sense. You know, the order that you have in a congregation will also go through that sense, because you're gonna have, you know, leadership, elders, right, and ultimately Yahushua, who's over all of this, and everything has to be going according to the ways of Yahushua. But only to address a point that you were saying earlier as well, is 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and start verse 13. It says, do you not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple, and they which wait at the altar are partakers with the altar? So those that, to the Levites would work in the temple. So where did they eat? They would eat in the temple, right? They would eat the things that pertain to the sacrifice. So they ate where they worked. You know, they what they labored in is where they reap their reward. Where they sow their seed is where they reap their harvest. Verse 14 says, even so have the Lord ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel. So, yeah, in one sense, saying, you know, you want to be sincere when you're living the gospel, but chiefly, you know, if like the Levites, they would live off of the or the sons of Aaron, as chiefly, would live off the sacrifices, and the Levites would live of the tithes and the tenth of everyone's wealth, then how much so those that are preaching the gospel, that they should live off the things that they're reaping and that they're working for, just as the Levites would work for the temple, and they would gain the benefits of working for the temple directly, and the things that, you know, come from the temple, the food, the sacrifices, and the wealth. So much so, those that live of the gospel, if you're living and working, laboring in this truth, then you also reap the benefits that this truth has, you know, that the Most High has in store. So, like the brother was saying, that if you don't work it, then you're not eating, right? Because if you are working, you are laboring, you are preaching this gospel, then the Most High will feed you with understanding to add unto you. You know, you might not know this, might not know that, but when you know what you do know, and you teach it, you preach it, then the Most High can add on to you, because he trusts that with the knowledge that he gave you, that he knows that you're going to teach that and use it. So he's going to give more to you because you used it. Right? It's just basic business. And the more you get, the more you use, the more the Most High you build up. Like you have a credit score. You know, a credit score is basically like the same thing. You know, they trust you with money. So now you get a higher rating. So now you get a higher rating. Now you can get better loans. Now you can get better business deals. Now you can get better mortgage rates or whatever. Right? You're much more trusted, right? When you actually, and in order to build up your credit score, you gotta, you know, put yourself out there to get that. You know, you gotta be in the position to be trusted with that thing that doesn't belong to you, and use it efficiently and add on to it. It's the same way with this truth. The Most High gives us credit, which is his wisdom and understanding. And we want to get a good credit score in this truth. We want to make sure that we have a good name, that we have a high credit score when it comes to what the Most High gave us. And that's not just wisdom. That could be any gift that the Most High gave you, whether it's faith, right? Whether it's, being able to speak in tongues, right? Whether it's being able to evangelize, whether it's being able to prophesy, whether it's being able to, whatever office that you have, all of these things, you got to live off that. And we want to make sure that we're getting a good name and a credit score for the things that we're doing. When the Most High gives us these gifts, are we using it to then build up, or we just seeing it and just doing some worldly stuff, man? That's why some people are not increasing. Really, people might be wondering, why am I not increasing? Because the thing that the Most High gave you, you're not doing nothing with it, right? Just like the person with a low credit score, they're not getting no loans. It was like, why am I not getting no loans? Because the credit score's dead, right? That's why no one trusts you with more. Same way the Most High won't trust you with more if you're not doing anything with what was given to you. Do something with it. Make some moves. Do something. Right? Put whatever gift you put it out there, plant it so that it can reap from it, and then you can actually have the benefits that would actually come from that. You're just there with a bunch of seeds in your hand, just looking around, just just looking around with seeds in your hand, with the ground right in front of you, and you're saying, "Oh, where's my fruits at?" Well, do something, man. All right, there you go.
God, I just wanted to touch on a point as well about the order thing, but the brother asked the next question. Maybe we can address that. How do you find your gift, basically? So the go-to place that I would go, when it comes about gifts is let me see, 1 Corinthians 12, I believe. Probably, brother's gonna add. It's the book of 1 Corinthians. Phone's a little bit slow, so like 1 Corinthians 12. Let's start from verse 3. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Yahushua accursed, and that no man can say that Yahushua is the Lord but by the Holy Ghost. Verse 4. Now these are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are differences of administrations, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of operations, but this is the same God which worketh in all. Chapter 13, I mean. I believe. Maybe can a brother help me out? I'm missing the chapter. Is it not 1 Corinthians 12? Where it's talking about diverse gifts.
Yeah,
that you have diverse gifts.
You want to read it?
Yeah, maybe I'm missing the verse. So yeah.
1 Corinthians 12, and then I'll start verse 5. It says, and there are differences of administrations, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of operations, but it is the same God, which worketh all in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, to another diverse kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. But all these worketh that one and the self-same Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will.
Can't. Throughout, I was tripping somehow. Yeah, I was in the chat, I was reading it, but somehow. Yeah, man. So basically, when we are, as one body, like I believe it's Philippians 2, when we, being in one accord, we in the body of Yahushua, when we basically doing the work, everybody got a different gift, meaning like you basically put your hand to the plow and then you see basically what is kind of your affinity with. For example, in my congregation, I used to do the Hebrew, the Hebrew lessons here and there, a couple of things. I used to study for myself, of course, but seemingly brothers and sisters told me, "Hey, you kind of kind of good with the Hebrew." So I basically focused myself then on the Hebrew, and then boom, I was kind of like that's kind of my gift. You have to basically look for yourself. What's your gift by actually just doing the work, doing everything what you can, and the Most High has for everybody a different office. So you gotta basically just do the word, and the Most High may increase, But yeah, man.
I'll point on that. I'm going to go to 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 6. It says, "Wherefore I put thee in remembrance, that thou stir up the gift of God which is in thee by the putting on of my hands." Right? You have to stir up that gift. Like the brother was saying, identifying it, but also doing something with it, man. Stirring it up. I don't just leave it in the pot. Stir that up. Don't just sprinkle it on the meat. You gotta stir that up, man. Marinate that in, and actually make sure it's actually it can be used. You can have a gift, but you want to make sure that it's actually profitable as well. Don't just take it for granted. Make sure you can make it profitable for people. So you sharpen it up. For example, someone in sports, they may have, you have certain footballers that they're really fast and they're good at running with the ball, but they just kick the ball and just run after it. There's a gift there, but they need to stir that up. So there's an element that they can apply, but that's not going to be profitable. Kicking the ball and running is not going to get you anywhere. You have to be able to have control of it, So we have to also sharpen up what's given unto us, So for brothers good at like their Hebrew, let's say, or good at languages in general, sharpening that up to make sure that's profitable so that people can actually learn from that. So these things that are good, and it could be anything. It could be making garments. That's a gift. It could be giving alms. You could be blessed. You could be, good physically. You can give like nutritional programs for people. All of these things are gifts as well. But it's actually about making it profitable for the body. Then that will be a gift that you're blessing the children of God with. Anyone else wants to add on to that, you can.
I'll say this. I'll say as well, in terms of how you find your gift. I think a lot of the time, you might try and go like, oh, what am I good at? A lot of the time, I think it might take, it takes to drop certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when we follow the Most High, He will give unto us. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm gonna read Mark chapter 11. So Mark chapter 10, sorry, and verse 21. It says, "Then Yahushua, beholding him, loved him, and said unto him, One thing thou lackest, go thy way, sell whatsoever thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and take up the cross and follow me. Right? And it said, so a lot of the time, that's what we got to do, right? We got to let go of what we have in a, how do you discern between a carnal blessing from God and a carnal. Okay, Karen, we can go into that next as well then. And then I'll probably wrap up on that point as well, right? But a lot of the time we kind of, and I got one more precept as well, then we can go on to the next question and we'll move on. Probably wrap up there. And it says, so we don't want to consider carnal things. We want to really be focused on gaining the kingdom, because that's really what's gonna give us the increase, right? That's really what where our mind should be, is aiming for the kingdom, right? I get another precept as well in Matthew 19 as well, right? So book of Matthew chapter 19 and verse number, I'll start from verse 29. Matthew 19 and 29 says, and everyone that hath forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life. Right? So we want to be able to because again, the Most High, that's above all. You know what I'm saying? That's above all things. So that's what we want to have on our conscience. That's what we want to be meditating on day and night. We want to be meditating on the Most High, right? Through this word that we've been given, right? So that we can get all these other things added to us, right? But Khan, yeah, brother got one more question. He said, I'll pull it up. It says, how do you discern between a blessing from God and money gained through greed?
Got one precept, just one. When I read the book of Mark, chapter 8, starting from verse, let's say 32, it says, and he spake that saying openly, and Peter took him and began to rebuke him. Verse 33, but when he had turned about and looked on his disciples, he rebuked Peter, saying, get thee behind me, Satan, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but the things that be of men. So basically, there's a precept where it says, money is the root of all evil. So Satan is always coming to you in a subtle way, like in Genesis chapter 3, verse 1, the serpent, always in a way that is kind of beguiling you, that is always kind of, trying to give you something in a way that's kind of pleasing unto you, but it's really, really carnal, because one last precept, I believe it's in Wisdom of Solomon 14:27, I believe. Let me see. Because and the end of the day is actually always about magnifying the Most High's name, like Surah 43 verse 33, I believe. It's always about, when you have First Peter 4:11, for example, you're always magnifying the Most High. It's all about His will, your Father's will, and it's not about exalting, or extolling or amplifying your own name, or reputation, or what you like in this world. But the Most High can be tempted, but only men can be tempted with worldly things. But so this is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 27. For the worshipping of idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil. I believe there's a Timothy, where it's talking about, root of the same thing with money, basically. So this is how you basically identify when you see something that's actually, really of the spirit, which would be, for example, edifying the church, edifying your people, giving something to the congregation, or you're getting something like a blessing, but you see you can also redistribute it, or it's kind of not, it's not kind of in a it's kind of in a selfless way, when you get a blessing, but maybe the brothers can add some more precepts to it. I yield.
I got Proverbs chapter 10 verse 2 says, treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivereth from death. So you got certain things that can deliver you from death, like arms can deliver you from death, like it says in the book of Tobit. But treasures of wickedness are going to profit nothing. So, people that, people that are rich right now, that made their money off of slavery, it's not going to do anything in the day of judgment, right? And all of their money that they invest to protect themselves, it's not going to do anything. People that made their money off of OnlyFans, their riches is not going to profit them in the day of judgment. People that made their money off of being on the block, right, trapping, that money is not going to save them. So all of these things they're from Satan, right? Satan can bless you, but in order to obtain those blessings, you have to do certain sins for him, because just like we obtain blessings by the Most High by keeping the commandments, and I'll get that. Right. The Most High blesses us when we keep in the commandments. It's Deuteronomy chapter 28, and I'll start verse 2. It says, and all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. So when you're keeping the commandments, then the Most High is going to bless you, right, in the things that you have. Ultimately, everything we have is of the Most High, but the Most High can give you over to Satan if you allow him to be your right hand. He'll be your ruler. So either you can get blessed by the Most High, or I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 4. And I'll start verse 8. It says, again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. Right? This is the devil coming to Yahushua, and he's showing him the glory of all the kingdoms of the world. And he says, verse 9, and saith unto him, so this is the devil, all these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. So Satan has the power to give you things, right? If you fall down and worship him, you get down and you bow down yourself unto Satan, then you can receive certain things from Satan. So some things are treasures of wickedness, and they can be from Satan if you actually worship Satan, or you worship the devil, or you worship anything that's not the Most High. The things that you've got is not of the Most High, because that's not who you worshipped in order to be blessed with it, right? The Most High allowed these other gods or these other devils to fondle you, man, into riches, and now you fornicated spiritually with these idols, and you've gained whatever you've gained from the world, but that's not of the Most High directly. That's through the devil. So you can get things through the devil, but that's by sinning, right? If you sin and you gain something through your sin, then that's of Satan. If you're keeping the commandments and you're gaining something through keeping the commandments, like it was saying, if you live of the gospel, or if you preach the gospel, you live of the gospel, the Most High is going to reward those who are doing his work, because a laborer is worthy of his meat, right? If you're working, the Most High is going to feed you, even on a physical level. So you can be blessed by the Most High when you're keeping the commandments. When you're breaking the commandments, Satan is going to be the one that's blessing you. Satan is going to be the one that's providing for you, right? People that are in the world that are committing top sins, man. You think like P. Diddy, he's blessed by the Most High. He's just, you go to Deuteronomy 28 and 2 and say, see, he must be righteous because look how rich he is. That's not how it works, right? Some people are blessed by Satan. Look at Proverbs chapter 24, verse 3. Some people are blessed by Satan, but, it's set up that way. Because a lot of people wouldn't follow Satan and follow the ways of this world if there was no benefits to it? Not because there are benefits to it, right? Short term, but we're here for everlasting life. This is Proverbs 24, and I'll start verse 1. It says, "Be not thou envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them." So you want to be envious of men that are evil. Now you want to be with them. Now you're looking at their riches, and then you're getting confounded. I'm gonna get another precept. I'm gonna go to Psalms chapter 37, verse 2. I start verse 1. It says, "Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb." So just because people who are in the world, they look like they're growing really well, but the Most High is gonna cut them down. So you don't want to be looking at just because someone's rich, they must be righteous, or they must be doing something that I should follow. Some people are blessed by Satan, and it's not a way that you should follow. You want to do anything that's of the Most High. If the Most High makes you poor, and the Most High makes you poor, doesn't mean he hates you, right? It means he's humbled you. But everything we know, if you're keeping the commandments, at least you know everything you've got comes from the Most High. So whether you're rich, whether you're poor, if you're keeping the commandments, what you've got is of the Lord. I'm going to get another one, Sirach chapter 2, in verse 3. If you're keeping the commandments, even if you don't have all the riches, at least you can be relieved enough to know that it's of the Lord that I'm poor, right? This is Sirach 2. I'll just read verse 4, Salakia. It says, "Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state." Right? Because it's easy for Yahweh to make a poor man rich. Right? He can do that in a day if he wants to. Right? So you take it upon you cheerfully. So whatever situation the Most High has put us in, if he's made you rich, if he's made you poor, if he's made you maimed, whatever it is, you take it cheerfully, because when you're keeping the laws and you're having faith, you have nothing to worry about. Everything that you're doing is of the Most High. Yeah, Satan can try you, but the Most High, he's governing all of these things. The time that you should be worrying is when you're not keeping the commandments. That's when you should think, well, this is probably of Satan, because I just stole this from my brother. So of course, if you steal, £1,000 from your brother, it's not, oh yeah, man's goings is of the Lord, bro. I got this £1,000 because, Most High blessed me. When you took it out of his pocket, right? You took his card and you started spending it, and you're saying, yeah, man's goings is of the Lord. No, that doesn't really add up there, right? So, whatever's brought upon us, we have to take it cheerfully. I know that, the things are of the Most High. When the Most High is blessing us, that's something we want to make sure that we appreciate. But that's when you're keeping the commandments. I was going to add to that.
I'll finish up on these two precepts. I'll read the book of Haggai, the classic Haggai 1, and I'll start from verse 5. I'll start from 4 actually. It says, "Is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses, and this house lie waste? Now therefore consider," now it's like that, verse 5, "Now therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways," right? Because we definitely have to think about what it is we're doing, especially in these last days, right? Especially knowing and having the glory that we know, right? We gotta think and consider, okay, wait, what we gotta do now, right? Do we just want to be taken by and it was a shame actually, because I seen a brother on the way back from camp. I seen him, he's in the car, right? He's near Hausen, right? He's he's watching Bishop Nathaniel. Started talking to him, and he's like, oh, like I'm, you know, kind of I'm chasing paper more than I'm chasing this, innit? And that's, I took his number, and I said, yeah, cool, like maybe most likely we can catch up with him, innit? Because it's times like that, and you got to consider your ways, man. You know, definitely got to consider your ways. You don't want to be caught up, and now you're chasing that rather than chasing the Most High, right? It says, verse 6, ye have sown much, and bring in little, ye eat, but have not enough to drink. So like it, but have not enough, ye drink, but ye are not filled. With drink ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. So we got to really consider, you know what I'm saying? Because like it is, you know, when you read Sirach 2, talking about, you know, whatever is brought upon us, take it cheerfully, because that's correction, that's humbling, right? And that's most I can give you the increase tomorrow, whenever he sees it fit. Because you know, people, you know, start to getting peas, and now they start acting different. Now you brother's calling you come in camp, he's saying, oh, so like, yeah, I got something going on. Because you're more invested in that than you are in, you know, the Lord, right? And I'll jump as well to this is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 1 and verse 17. I'll start from. It reads, and I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung, right? Because that time is coming, man, right? And it's just because they have sinned against the Lord, right? Verse 18, neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. So we don't want to be too caught up in thinking about the carnal things of the world, right? Because it's nothing wrong with making money, right? Nothing wrong with it, but make sure you're doing it in righteously. You know, okay, well, you're scamming, and no, you don't want to do that, because you're dealing falsely amongst your own people as well, right? You don't want to do that, right? You want to, work. You know, don't be make sure you. I think it's a Sirach to send him to work. You know, lest he be idle. Paraphrasing, because idleness teacheth much evil. Because if you're just doing nothing, you're gonna just be, you're just sat there. You got bare time on your hands, right? Of course, you got bare time on your hands. Are we gonna be? What do you think of you can devising in your head? Oh, what can I do? That's mad. What can I do to make money? Now you're thinking of all sorts of things, right? So trying to get too caught up on these carnal things, right? But yeah, that's what I'll say in regards to that. From that point, man, we'll close out. We'll say all praise to Yahweh Shemi Ashai. Most our witness was edifying. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.